Hello and welcome. I'm Catherine Osborne, President and CEO of Corporate Harmony, and I am your host for today's webinar with the help of your certified subject matter experts. I am the author of the book Corporate Harmony, the performance link for today's modern organization, and of the upcoming book Healthcare Harmony, Thriving in the Line of Fire. I am also a licensed affiliate, certified coach, and the Canadian representative for the Centre for Influential Leadership, where we develop leaders for increased productivity, enhanced teamwork, greater initiative, and more agility with change. The center's founder, Dr. Michael Frisina, spent his career in healthcare administration and is now an internationally recognized leadership expert, speaker, and author, specializing in the creation of tactical capacity in leaders and organizational teams worldwide. Tactical capacity can be thought of as any behavior that is not a technically explicit behavior. In other words, tactical capacity is the behavior that enables you to be a role model for your direct reports. It's the behavior that guides operational improvements. It's the behavior that creates organizational culture. It's the behavior that guides others through change. And it's the behavior that allows you to sustain excellence on the job. But first, some housekeeping. I would ask everyone to pick up your smartphone or electrical device and turn it off. Then place it in the middle of the table, face down. Thank you. The time we spend together here today is your time and no one else's, and it's important that you enjoy this time without the pressures of the outside world. One of the things that we practice throughout these sessions is the art of being present in the moment with me. Today, we are looking at the third and final relational principle of the collaboration domain of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership, creating and sustaining highly effective relationships. In the collaboration domain of the positive presence behavior competencies for influential leadership, you are learning how to expand your awareness from within your physical self of awareness to the area of your 20 square feet, the area that is beyond your physical self. You will remember that this area is also known as your biofield or aura or torus, and this is the area where your social exchanges with others occur. Bringing your awareness to this area of yourself enables you to recognize how well your personal behavior style is meshing with others. Developing the habit of feeling your personal energy as it interacts with others provides you with the cues needed for knowing when to flex to someone else's style in order to create the best outcome in all your relationships, both personal and professional. Before we get into this final principle of collaboration, we will, however, take a few moments for a personal check-in and then a quick review of the first two principles of collaboration: change your thinking, change your performance, and behavior intelligence and managing emotions. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. It is now time for a personal check-in. This means that it's a time to be mindful, a time to pause and ask yourself questions. For the remaining sessions of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership, we will be accompanying your personal check-ins with brainwave music. You will remember that brainwave music has been proven to move a person into a more positive mental and emotional attitude. The clip that you are hearing is typical of the theta brainwave state, which has proven benefits such as deeper connection to one's emotions, increased intuition, greater levels of energy and relaxation, enhanced self-awareness, and a greater ability to enter into a highly focused, effortless learning state. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath and repeat with me, either silently or aloud. What sort of feelings have I had since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, What have my thought patterns been like since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. What have my behavior patterns been like since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And open your eyes. A personal check-in is also a good opportunity for you to do a physical body scan. You've been sitting for a while now, and you will need to stretch your muscles. So either sitting or standing, make a conscious effort to bring your body to a state of relaxed anticipation. Beginning at the top of your head, as you slowly breathe in and then out, I want you to first consciously acknowledge your scalp, and then focus on relaxing your scalp. Next, consciously acknowledge your face, and then focus on relaxing your face. Now, your arms and your hands. Gently shake them out. Now your chest, your abdomen, your hips, your legs, and your feet. Wiggle your toes and stretch it out. And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you're standing, please take a seat. And again, please close your eyes. This time, I would ask you to repeat after me either silently or aloud. Please allow my mind to be open and accepting of all information coming to me, that I may think upon it in the days to come. And now open your eyes. The stress of today's work environment is not going away. In healthcare, particularly, the demands, the chaos, the uncertainty, and lightning-fast changes are likely not going to change either. However, what we can do is learn to respond to it in a positive and healthy manner. Remember the mantra, it is what it is. Now what? This mantra is one way of reminding yourself to stop, do your breathing, do your personal check-in, and adjust your thoughts, adjust your feelings. You are a leader. Whether you realize it or not, regardless of an official title at work or in your community, every time you connect with someone, you have the opportunity to lead through influence. It is vitally important to understand that when it comes to workplace behavior, we are all leaders because it is through our own personal behavior competency that we influence others. And so, we are all influential leaders. Your ability to quiet the mind chatter and focus in the moment, your ability to be present in the moment is a huge accomplishment, and one that we will continue to practice a lot. My friend Dina Proctor is a living testament to the fact that meditation and mindfulness not only brings peace and clarity, it can be used to train our brain for focus. I have adapted one of Dina's 3x3s into a mini meditation, a mini-med, to open your mind. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. Welcome to the mini-med for thought cleansing for an open mind. For these couple of minutes, I invite you to find a comfortable position for your body and let every muscle relax any tension right now. You may be feeling that there are so many thoughts, it just feels like your brain is so crowded And you would love to be able to just have a thorough cleansing, to have any thoughts that no longer serve you to be easily removed and released, and to have those good flowering thoughts be even more deeply planted in your mind. Imagine that there's a warm ball of light energy that is surrounding your physical being and concentrated right around your head, just bringing a feeling of warm, supportive love around your mind and your brain. This warm light and this ball of energy is easily able to infiltrate right into your brain, right into every aspect of your mind. Let this energy in and invite it to do its work. Let it encompass every brain cell, every dimension of your mind, and weed out, easily releasing any thoughts that no longer serve you, and rewire any thinking that needs to be rewired right now. If there's something specific that's been bothering you, invite the warm, healing light to handle that situation, to come in and sort out the useful thoughts, and easily release any thoughts that are blocking your solution and your movement forward. Just really staying still and letting this light energy do all the work. It's cleaning and purifying your thoughts and rewiring the way that your thoughts are stored in your brain. Let yourself just settle and breathe deeply as this light does its work, maintaining that deep stillness and peaceful trust that this light energy is doing great positive work for you right now. And now, let your body take one last deep breath in, knowing that the thoughts remaining are those that serve you best and are grounded and present in solution and love, moving you forward. Come back to awareness. Notice your surroundings. What do you see? Is there anyone beside you? Across from you? What sounds do you hear? Collaboration as the relational behavior domain is first and foremost a type of culture where work and goals are interdependent. It is a culture of mutual respect, and it is a culture filled with energy, passion, excitement, and enthusiasm that begins in the heart of every person involved. In today's highly complex organizational systems, such as healthcare, a socially focused collaborative culture is crucial for delivery of performance excellence. The first relational behavior principle in the collaboration domain of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership is change your thinking, change your performance. This principle is imperative because the behaviors of a collaborative culture are dependent on your ability and the ability of those around you for higher level thinking. Thinking is a skill and discipline that is learned and must be continually improved on. Critical thinking is a technique of thought, and although thinking may seem like a soft or unquantifiable skill, it is actually a key competency for leaders at all levels in today's complex and ambiguous knowledge economy. Your ability to think effectively and to do so with another person and in a group becomes extremely important for performance success. Both thinking and interpersonal skills are intangibles that appear in the workplace as tangible behavior. Critical thinking requires a positive, energized, and open mind, and it requires removing any preconceived thought habits and perceptions. These brain blocks are normal and often plentiful, and it takes work and practice to eliminate them. Critical thinking is a learned process, a process that takes time, effort, and a lot of practice. Techniques and exercises for development of critical thinking skills are plentiful. Science has proven that as you hone your skill of critical thinking, the executive portion of your brain actually expands and becomes more integrated with other neural networks. To do so, however, requires you to be free of stress and the biological hormones triggered by stress. Continuously building on your skill of positive presence, your ability to adjust for and create a positive and energized mindset through conscious thought processes, will remove any unconscious stress and drive the necessary behaviors for a work environment that is consistently tolerant, supporting, and strength-based. The kind of work environment that supports critical thinking and bridges the gap between intelligence and emotions. The second relational behavior principle that we looked at in the collaboration domain of the behavior competencies was behavior intelligence and managing emotions. The single most important choice you make on a day-to-day basis is your choice of attitude. If your attitude is established with the skill of positive presence, there is no barrier too high, no challenge too great, and no circumstance too difficult to prevent you from becoming an influential leader. But if your attitude is not a positive presence, even the smallest obstacle can defeat you. An impulse of mismanaged emotion can ruin a moment or a situation. A habit of mismanaged emotion can ruin a relationship or an entire work team. Your words, your attitudes, and your behavior have significant impact on the emotional state of your followers. You have incredible and in many instances unrealized control over the emotional condition of your followers. When you consider the extent of your biofield, and the more positive you are, the greater your extent, your followers have access to and are energized by your energy field. If your energy field is negative, it will negatively affect the emotional state of your followers and can severely impact peak performance and create a disengaged and dissatisfied group. To the degree a leader mismanages the power of their emotions by consistently engaging in negative emotional responses can lead to physical and mental health issues of employees and even contribute to the increased cost of health benefits and workers' compensation claims. We all have to deal with negative emotions at work sometimes, and learning how to cope with these feelings is now more important than ever. The key is to know what causes your negative emotions. When those emotions begin to appear, it's imperative to have the tools and techniques at hand in order to stay in balance and focused on performance. The longer you wait to confront negative emotions, the harder it will be to pull yourself away from the negative thinking. Unique to each of us is what researchers call a social behavior style. You will remember the 4 scales that we talked about in session 5. Each of the behavior scales reflects its own set of emotional needs and has its own response to the effect of stress and other factors that meet or fail to meet emotional needs. Emotions do not respond directly to an event. Rather, emotions respond to what you think about an event. Learning to look for specific triggers and to recognize and adapt your own behavior style is critical to managing your emotions, as well as to helping those you lead recognize and adapt to stressful situations. The third and final relational behavior principle in the collaboration domain of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership is creating and sustaining highly effective relationships. The foundation for a strong relationship begins with the foundation that you build for your own, the purposes and principles on which you have built your life. This is what you bring to every one of your relationships. Leadership, influential leadership, is about relationships with people and about creating an environment of collaboration, the coming together of 2 or more parties to realize a common goal. You can't be a leader without followers, and therefore you can't be a leader without relationships. An influential leader understands that an organization cannot become what its people are not, nor can organizational performance rise any higher than the combined individual performance of its people. Organizational excellence and success has a direct relationship to a leader's ability to create and sustain highly effective relationships. Proficiency in collaborative behavior skills is essential for leader success and effectiveness. The fundamental skill set is simply getting it right as a leader, not only with the technical elements of performance, but equally, if not more important, getting it right with people relationships through a strategic approach to quality cognitive behavior development. For many organizations, acquiring proficiency in collaborative behavior skills means a transformation of the organizational social mindset. It means transforming the work environment to one that is energizing to work in, one that promotes physical, emotional, and social well-being. Social focus within an organization is an absolute must in today's global, knowledge-based economy. In fact, in many organizations, it means a completely new mindset, unlike anything of the past. At the heart of a socially focused organization is the ability to form positive, energized relationships that are built to survive today's chaos, ambiguity, and complexity. Relationships built with the skill of positive presence. The research coming from the neurosciences indicates that you are in a constant state of energy flow, positive and negative, and that only positive human energy has the ability to attract, mesh, and combine with other positive human energy. Positive emotional energy is necessary not only for sustaining strong work groups, but it moves you and others around you to an energized state that promotes higher level thinking and therefore a greater capacity for achieving peak performance, for building and maintaining good relationships, and for experiencing good health. It is your ability to create and sustain a positive, energized mindset in spite of all circumstances that will lead you to creating and sustaining highly effective relationships in today's knowledge-based work environment. Poet Maddie Stepanek said, "Unity is strength. When there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved." Organizations that are entrenched in the dated command and control leadership and the "I don't need you" mentality struggle to compete against organizations that embrace a culture of collaboration in which employees are engaged, the work and goals are interdependent, and the leaders are self-aware but others focused and connected. Collaboration enriches the work lives of all the people, leaders, physicians, nurses, technicians, other caregivers, and support staff associated with the organization. The reason is that collaboration emphasizes that everyone, no matter the position on the organizational chart, has something to contribute to the goals of the enterprise. After all, when someone asks you to get involved or to help, you feel needed, valued, and an integral part of a larger system. People who feel this way find their work meaningful, and as a result, they willingly contribute their time, talent, and energy and are motivated to perform at high levels. At the very least, these people become advocates or supporters of the initiative. In this way, collaboration engages employees and encourages them to mind and/or improve their behavior. Collaboration is about bringing people together in mutual, beneficial, meaningful purpose, and is the essence of an integrated team, formally defined as a multidisciplinary group of people who are collectively responsible for delivering a defined product, process, or service. Anthony Robbins said, "Some of the biggest challenges in relationships come from the fact that most people enter a relationship in order to get something. They're trying to find someone who's going to make them feel good. In reality, the only way a relationship will last is if you see your relationship as a place that you go to give and not a place that you go to take." Creating and sustaining an integrated team requires you to provide guidance and needed resources and then stay out of the way. Micromanagement can have no place in an integrated team, and tactical behavior competency is a must. A sound foundation in behavior skills enhances the team members' financial, operational, and human resource knowledge and abilities. If members cannot get through to other people, their technical expertise will not do much to advance the goals of the team. It is worth repeating. Technical skills rise no higher than the individual behavior skills. It's true, in virtually every organization, there is one person whom everyone regards as detrimental to the mission, vision,
values, and strategies of the enterprise. This is a person who comes to work every day, intent on making the lives of everyone else a nightmare. This is a person whom others would like to fire if they had the authority to do so. No organization needs a team member like this, but this person is often adept at going unnoticed at the very least, or more often than not, being a shining star to those with power and authority. The organization cannot become what its people are not. That is, if employees are mediocre, the organization is equally mediocre. If an employee is toxic in behavior, the organization will have a toxic behavior as well. None of this benefits the effort to create and sustain highly effective relationships and peak performing organizational teams. As an influential leader, it's important to know what to look for and how to deal with it for the greatest good of your organization, your team, and for you. Ultimately, creating and sustaining a highly functional integrated team requires developing strong interpersonal relationships. Remember that we never get the relationships we wish for, but we do get the relationships we work for. And working for effective relationships and teams involves doing the following: asking more than telling, expressing thanks and appreciation in both formal and informal ways, including the group in brainstorming and problem-solving processes, being approachable, rewarding cooperative and interdependent behavior, not rock star performance, hiring people who value and understand shared responsibility and accountability, and staying committed to collaboration, not competition and conflict. Emotions are a powerful force in your life. Remember, the single most important choice you make on a day-to-day basis is your choice of attitude. If your attitude is right, there is no barrier too high, no challenge too great, and no circumstance too difficult to prevent you from achieving your personal best. Positive presence behavior competency is necessary to live and work effectively with other people. You have to give up blaming. Wayne Dyer, co-author of How to Get What You Really, 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 Really Want, said, "All blame is a waste of time. No matter how much fault you find with another, and regardless of how much you blame him, it will not change you. As you move into a mindset of responsibility and ownership of self, that's where the buck stops. When you reach this point, this is when you move out of the safety cocoon of being a victim. This is when you move out of the safety cocoon of playing the blame game. And all of a sudden, it's not about them, it's all about you. It's about what's inside you and how you use who you are in relation to your work, in relation to all those around you, and in relation to the rest of the world. You have the power of choice to live a life of meaning and purpose. Circumstances cannot make this distinction for you. So do not make a difficult situation worse by responding poorly. Be prepared for it. Martin Luther King said it poignantly: "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." The research of Jim Rohn, Jack Canfield, and other thought experts reveals a distinguishing characteristic of consistently successful people. They all have the ability to maintain a positive and proactive attitude regardless of the challenge of significant life events. Turns out that highly effective people think differently than less effective people. Their thinking and operating mental models are typically deliberate, disciplined, intentional, focused, engaged, and thoughtful. A blame shift and excuse-making mental model is self-sabotaging and non-productive. Far too often, struggling organizations fall into the trap of accepting excuses for average or low-level performance, rather than taking initiative to solve the problems that are at the root of poor performance. These organizations sadly become very adept at finding ways to cope with problems rather than solving them. This excuse mentality has a way of screening out all evidence of responsibility, accountability, and initiative. We often fail to take responsibility because we are locked in to our excuses and locked out of why we are accountable. A proactive response is motivated to produce a positive and optimal outcome. A productive, success-oriented mindset is one that first and foremost takes responsibility and ownership of self. Relationships build teamwork, as said by Patrick Lencioni in his book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Not finance, not strategy, not technology. It is teamwork that remains the ultimate competitive advantage, both because it is so powerful and so rare. It's not just any teamwork. The teamwork that is so powerful and so rare is collaborative teamwork. At the very core of collaborative teamwork is the relationships that are built by the team members themselves. Relationships are an integral ingredient for collaboration. And when we fail to create highly effective relationships, it is impossible to create collaborations. Collaborative teamwork can be very elusive without an in-depth understanding of what they are now calling the soft sciences. At the highest level, collaboration requires these 3 elements or traits. First, effective communication. Second, a cooperative attitude. And third, integrated teams. All 3 traits are based on the principles of human factor psychology, which is the study of human behavior and thinking patterns and their influence on creating a better workplace, product, system, and so on. The task of forming and sustaining collaboration is informed by human factor psychology as much as it affects product design and manufacturing, for example. In other words, human factor psychology explains how people work, why people must work together, and how people relate to each other and their environment. The challenge for leaders and managers is to observe, identify, and adjust behavioral barriers so they can form highly effective relationships that in turn drive successful collaborations. Collaborations can be formed by any individuals or groups, but it cannot be sustained long enough to yield the desired results in the absence of highly effective relationships guided by a self-aware leader. We do not work in isolation. Nearly everything we do requires that we connect and collaborate with other people. The underlying message of this behavior skill is that a culture of collaboration trumps competition in the quest to achieve performance excellence. But collaboration is not possible among team members who have more technical proness than behavioral competencies. If you want to improve organizational outcomes, you must purposefully pay attention to the relationship dynamics within your team. It is relationships that build teamwork. We cannot achieve excellence in isolation from others. One is too small a number to achieve greatness. In his book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, Patrick Lencioni presents this hierarchical model of team dysfunction. These dysfunctions can be mistakenly interpreted as 5 distinct issues that can be addressed in isolation of the others. But in reality, they form an interrelated model, making susceptibility to even one of them potentially lethal for the success of a team. A cursory overview of each dysfunction and the model they comprise should make this clearer. First, the absence of trust. Second, the fear of conflict. Third, the lack of commitment. Fourth, avoidance of accountability. And fifth and finally, inattention to results. And so, like a chain with just one link broken, teamwork deteriorates if even a single dysfunction is allowed to flourish. Another way to understand this model is to take the opposite approach, a positive one, and imagine how members of truly cohesive teams behave. They trust one another. They engage in unfiltered conflict around ideas. They commit to decisions and plans of action. They hold one another accountable for delivering against those plans. They focus on the achievement of collective results. If this sounds simple, it's because it is simple, at least in theory. In practice, however, it is extremely difficult because it requires levels of discipline and persistence that few teams can muster. As difficult as it is, however, as you hone your skill of positive presence and the positive presence behavior competencies, the tools, techniques, and exercises will create the habits necessary to maintain that level of discipline and persistence. The reality remains that teamwork ultimately comes down to practicing a small set of principles over a long period of time. Success is not a matter of mastering subtle, sophisticated theory, but rather of embracing common sense with uncommon levels of discipline and persistence. Ironically, teams succeed because they are exceedingly human. By acknowledging the imperfections of their humanity, members of functional teams overcome the natural tendencies that make trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and a focus on results so elusive. In healthcare, the complexity, the speed of change, and the advancement of technology have driven the need for a clearer focus on quality of care and safety worldwide. Research shows that breakdowns of communication were the leading cause of medical errors, resulting in tens of thousands of deaths each year. As a result, medical schools are screening applicants for such skills as communication and building soft skills and soft sciences into their medical training. What's more, medicine is evolving from an individual to a team sport. Solo medical practices are disappearing. Historically, medical school was all about being an individual expert. Now it's all about applying that expertise to team-based patient care. The following are the top 10 attributes of a great teammate. Integrity. Has a strong foundation. Knows how to set and achieve goals. Takes initiative. Understands the impact of habits. Makes wise decisions and is a problem solver. Manages emotion and displays empathy. Is a team-oriented player and builds relationships. Continuously improves. Manages priorities and is trustworthy. Cares, listens, communicates effectively. These 10 attributes are in no order of importance. Every one of them is interrelated and interdependent. There is no one that stands out as being more important than another. These attributes are, however, intangibles and require a special awareness, a new kind of awareness that we're only just beginning to understand in terms of the neurochemical electromagnetic energy of our biofield. On the other hand, every one of these intangibles can be learned and is addressed in the 10 sessions of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership. And every one of these intangibles is necessary for creating and sustaining the highly effective relationships needed for collaboration. The relationship challenge, as rightly stated by Tim Kite, organizational expert and author of The R Factor, is set out on this slide. He says, when it comes to relationships, the challenge that continually confronts us is that often we want more than we are willing to work for. Sometimes our desire for quality relationships is greater than our willingness to engage in the hard work necessary to build a team. When that happens, our relationships fall short of their potential. Worst case, they become difficult and painful. When it comes to relationships, be careful of wanting more than you are willing to work for. The grass is always greener where you water it. The relationships needed for the collaboration process do, unquestionably, require a huge amount of dedication and persistence. The collaboration process requires what is called a descriptive approach that is dynamic and open to multiple interpretations. It is an approach that doesn't assume all people are the same. It also requires a generative approach wherein strengths only exist when they bring life and energy to you and to all those around you. A generative approach to behavior is the understanding that your behavior must give and bring life to all things around you. This approach to relationships requires strengths-based behavior that creates a relational and intentional connection with those you work with, and also requires an environmental approach acknowledging that personal and organizational change doesn't happen quickly. It may require enormous amounts of time, and it is an iterative and dynamic process where strengths are expected, encouraged, leveraged, and cultivated. Positive, sustainable change can only happen through intentionally building an environment to support it, a culture of collaboration. This approach that uses strengths-based behavior to create a relational and intentional connection with those we work with is also transformational, not transactional. It can and will have a transformational impact on people's lives. Strengths become transformational when they give you a platform to understand yourself. They become transformational when they help you create an environment for growth and give life to you and to everyone around you. Strength-based behavior is also trust-earning behavior and includes, but is not limited to, the following: consistency in manner, words, and actions; accountability and transparency, including active listening, sharing information, and taking responsibility instead of blaming; genuine or sincere interest in and concern for others; respectful and equal regard and treatment of others, regardless of rank and position; focused attention; principled and evidence-based decision-making; dedication to fulfilling, not just making, promises; and finally, willingness to celebrate and reward good and exceptional work. These behaviors require a huge amount of self-awareness, discipline, and persistence. As you hone your skill of positive presence, you are creating the necessary thought habits that will make you a master of interpersonal relations, and you are mindful that your everyday words and actions can either strengthen or weaken trust. It's true that there's only so much bad behavior people can take before they lose their faith and start to disconnect from their leader and their organization. So, what are some of the specific intangibles that you must become aware of and take positive action on? Here are just a few that are relationship killers: lack of integrity, self-centeredness, poor communication, misaligned expectations, emotional blackmail, unresolved conflict, gossip, taking more than you give, negative attitude, not investing enough time and energy, failure to change and grow, failure to forgive. As a leader, you have already experienced some, or maybe even all, of these intangible behaviors that form a barrier not only to culture transformation, but also to relationships, teamwork, and collaboration. Creating a culture of collaboration means you must eliminate or mitigate these behavior barriers that disrupt communication, foster uncooperative attitudes, erode trust, and breed dysfunctional teams. Without a doubt, the most important part of this culture change process to collaboration is your ability to guide others to adjust for and create the desired mindset and behaviors that create and sustain highly effective relationships. Transforming culture from independent and competitive to interdependent and collaborative is not uncomplicated. It requires a transformational change in the hearts of every employee before it can flow and expand to the cultural level. Organizational behavior research and theory has identified specific barriers when it comes to transforming your organizational culture in today's work environment. The top 3 are slow adoption of change, top-down decision-making structure, and behavioral limitations. First, slow adoption of change. The problem of exporting a culture of collaboration to the upper level of current operations is similar to the problem faced when introducing a best practice or a change of any system. The process is slow, and people, by our very nature, are resistant to change. Even when provided evidence-based data, we are slow adopters of any change initiative. So it is that the focus must always turn to every person's ability for a positive and energized mindset to achieve a more focused, productive, clear, and innovative work environment. As you acquire the understanding and vocabulary for the skill of positive presence, you will be able to support each other in the creation of a work environment that promotes quality excellence, productivity, and innovation. Top-down decision-making structure. Organizational performance is the leader's responsibility. Studies have shown that many leaders tend to take this duty literally, acting as the first and final decision maker on all financial and operational matters. So-called solutions are developed independently, creating more problems because they lack the perspective of the people who are directly affected by their implementation. This top-down environment breeds cynicism, dissatisfaction, infighting, and other negative emotions and behaviors that are disruptive to highly effective relationships. On the other hand, in today's healthcare sector, it is virtually impossible to drive change from the front lines due to the vast complexity, ambiguity, and bureaucracy of the system itself. What you can expect is, at the very least, that the perception of a top-down decision-making structure is not going away anytime soon. It is the very nature of this environment that poses a barrier to transforming organizational culture. And the very nature of this environment is something over which you have little control. What you do have control over is the way you choose to respond to this inevitable environment. And finally, behavioral limitations. According to research, high-performing professionals tend to share some performance strengths and weaknesses. The strengths include working memory, organizational ability, and planning prioritizing. The weaknesses include stress tolerance, emotional control, and sustained attention. These weaknesses are key collaborative behavior traits necessary to be others-focused. As a leader, you must be others-focused, for to not be means you would have no followers. And yet again, behavioral weakness, not technical deficiency, is the main reason that there is lack of collaboration, increased negative conflict, or failure in a system. At the core of any human interaction, collaboration, or connection is your ability to communicate, and to do so from a platform of positive, caring energy. The importance of communication in the workplace can never be stressed enough, and collaborative communication is unique from both a verbal and nonverbal perspective of what it is not. Number 1, don't condescend. Condescension is a nuanced practice, and sometimes it is hard to tell if we or others are involved in a condescending exchange. Generally, a statement that makes you seem superior to others and makes others feel inferior to you, and vice versa, is condescending. Number 2, don't speak before you listen. In our 24/7 world of information and instant gratification, where news, data, opinions, and just about anything else you can think of are within reach in a matter of seconds, the art of patience is on its way out. This constant accessibility has made us anxious to get to the good part. In the process, when we interact with others, we interrupt, we hear instead of listen, we get defensive, and we think of a quick response instead of focusing on what is being said. Number 3, don't be vague. Be clear about your goals and expectations and encourage others to articulate their wants and needs. This simple practice prevents you and your team from making assumptions, doing extra work, and accomplishing the wrong tasks or meeting the wrong targets. Number 4, don't withhold relevant information. Keep in mind that insight, lessons, and advice from experience are as much information as facts and data. Share background, forecasts, current trends, and study findings, as well as negative and positive intelligence. And finally, number 5, don't ignore conflict. Despite our general aversion to conflict, we have to face it. Pretending it does not exist will only enlarge it. Understand that conflict is a necessary part of success and must exist and flow with the positive energy of passion. In a high-stress environment, negative energy can run rampant and get out of control. The skill of positive presence requires a focused self-awareness for a new way of thinking and being. It is a way of thinking that focuses on improving the emotional energy flow within us and around us, at home, at work, and in our community. It is a purposeful way of thinking and behaving that brings us life and strengthens every human relationship. And in the same way we exercise for physical strength and wellness, we will take a moment to exercise for cognitive strength and train our brain. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath.
Welcome to the Mini-Med for training your brain. For the next few minutes, I invite you to sit comfortably and find a place of calm, peaceful stillness within you, letting any thoughts and any tension melt completely out of your body. As you let your body settle in, and as you feel your shoulders relaxing and your thoughts releasing,
I invite you to consider a visual representation of the neural pathways of your brain, the thought patterns of your brain. You might imagine them to be like roadways, or railroad tracks, or canyons where energy or water would flow through them. And identify in your brain which are the old thought patterns, the old pathways that you wish to withdraw attention and energy from, and then identify where the newly formed pathways are being laid. Two separate areas of your brain, like roadways or paths, one well-worn and one newly formed. Now imagine that the energy source that has been wearing down those old brain patterns, those old neural pathways, that energy source is withdrawing, like a riverbed drying up from lack of water. Those old worn pathways are drying up and no longer being used regularly. The energy source is shifting. You can feel it shift. You know that it's shifting and leaving behind the old pathways. The energy is flowing toward the newly formed pathways. It's physically altering the way that you think and the way that your mind works. This energy source gently flows, softly shaping new thought patterns, new ways of thinking, new pathways in your brain and in your mind. This energy source is deepening the new pathways so that they will become your most well-worn ways of thinking. So now, take one more moment and imagine this energy source deepening and solidifying new neural pathways in your brain, gently withdrawing attention where you no longer like it to flow, and easily and effortlessly maintaining and shaping your new thought patterns from here going forward.
Come back to awareness. Notice your surroundings. What do you see? Is there anyone beside you? What sounds do you hear? We are now going to take time for reflection. This reflection time is referred to as table time because this exercise is created to be shared with a discussion group of your peers. Feel free to gather around a table with your colleagues or head over to Corporate Harmony's virtual discussion group. This is also a time to stay focused on task. Be present in the moment, right here. You will see notes pages at the end of the manual section for personal use in gathering insights and questions as you move through the material. So take time to put pen to paper. There are never any wrong or bad answers. Seeing your words on paper allows your brain to open up to even greater possibilities. Putting your thoughts and feelings to words on paper opens your mind to your inner wisdom and greatness. Enjoy this time and share your insights with the discussion group. You will find this slide at the top of page 18 of Chapter 7 of your manual. Next session, we will continue with the third and final principle of the relational behavior domain of collaboration, creating and sustaining highly effective relationships, and how to create productive relationships. So, until then, live each moment of each day with harmony and purpose, and allow your grandest dreams to come true.